Good morning friends, I welcome you all in this session. As you are aware, we were doing market and demand analysis in previous session, and we have seen several components of it. We have seen situational analysis, we have seen collection of secondary information, we have seen initial market survey, we have seen characteristics of the market. Let us look at demand forecasting, one of the very important concepts of market and demand analysis. So, we will see this topic in detail. So, we will see what are different methods of forecasting, and before looking at methods of forecasting, you should know what is forecasting. The forecasting is to know a priori about future events. Now, we want to know future demand of a product, we want to know what would be the temperature in summers this time, and we want to know what would be the share price after 1 year or after 1 month. So, all these are future events. So, that is known as forecasting. Now, let me tell you there is little difference between forecasting and prediction. We do forecasting on the basis of some past data, we apply some statistical tools, and we also use our own experience. When we combine these two things, we call it prediction. Otherwise, if we use only data and some statistical analysis, it is known as forecasting. So, let us look at different methods of forecasting. Basically, there are 4 types of forecasting methods. The first one is qualitative methods. So, in qualitative methods, generally we do not use numbers and statistical analysis. So, they are based on the opinion of experts. So, experts will tell you what would be the future demand. So, there are 2 types of methods in qualitative methods, jury of executive method and Delphi method. We will see these 2 methods. On the other hand, you have got quantitative methods. So, we use the past data of, let us say, sales of a company, and we will try to predict, forecast. We will try to forecast what would be the demand of that particular company in future. And there are again different methods. You have got trend projection, you have got exponential smoothing, you have got moving average method. The third one is causal methods. Causal methods deal with cause and effect relationship. So, there would be a cause and it would have some effect on something. So, as I said, it is the basis of cause and effect relationship is to be found out, and there are couple of causal methods. You have got chain ratio method, you have got consumption level method, end use method, leading indicator method, and econometric method, and finally you have got simulation. Generally we use simulation to know how the output will change when we change our input. So, simulation is generally used in highly uncertain situation. So, these are basically 4 methods. So, we will see in detail about qualitative methods. So, the first one is jury of executive opinion method. So, as I said, in this method we get we get opinion of experts or managers to know what would be the future sales. But there are certain pros and cons of this method. The pros are, you have got you can get easily what would be the forecast of a particular product by talking to experts. So, it is an expeditious method, and it appeals to managers, because managers would like to tell you what would be the forecast of a particular product. But the cons are, the biases cannot be unearthed easily, because there would always be biasness in this particular type of method. and that is the problem with this method, and its reliability is also questionable. Now, how would you ensure the reliability when a manager says that the next year the demand would be this much, right? He may be wrong, right? So, you cannot test its reliability. So, these are couple of cons of this particular method, but there are certain organizations, especially small businesses, they go for this type of forecasting method. If you look at second method, it is called Delphi method, widely used method, better than previous method. So, what do we do in Delphi method? In Delphi method, generally what we do, we get the opinion of group of experts with the help of mail survey. Now, you can send emails, you can talk to them over phone and so on, right. So, a group of expert is sent to a questionnaire, and we will ask them to reply to those questions. So, once we receive those questions, we summarize those questions, and then we go for second round of sending questionnaire to those experts. And we also tell the experts the views of each others, so that they can know what other experts are thinking. So, in this way we will go for further probing of a particular question in that questionnaire. So, we will try to know insights from those experts. Once you go for second round, then you may go for third round or fourth round, right. So, you should continue these rounds unless and until you reach to a particular consensus, right. So, there might be some agreement amongst those experts on a particular topic, or there might be different opinions. You may have two different opposite opinions, right. So, it depends on experts and what are those different questions. So, this is Delphi method. I will give you this example. Let us say, so in this Delphi method you will have a coordinator. So, there is a coordinator and these are different experts, right. So, you can send questionnaire to these experts, and let us say in the first round these are different opinions of experts, right. So, first, second, third, fourth and fifth. So, there are 5 experts. So, they have given some opinion, right. When you go for second round, then you see they are trying to converge on a particular decision, right. So, just see this second round. In third round they have converged fully, right. So, this is one example. You might have a situation where let us say in the first round these are your opinions of experts. In second round you have got 3 experts giving opinion and 2 experts giving exactly opposite opinion. In third round again, now this is very clear. Now you have got 3 experts going together and 2 experts going together in other direction, right. So, you may have a situation like this. So, it all depends on experts and what is the question. So, the pros are it is more accurate than previous method, because you have got group of experts, and the problem with this method is there are people who have said that what is the need of additional rounds, what would be the contribution of additional rounds, and what is the value of experts opinion. So, there are some critics also, but let those critics be there, but at the end of the day this is a better method. Let us look at couple of quantitative methods. So far we talked about qualitative methods, right. So, in quantitative methods there are several methods, we will see couple of them. So, the first one is a trend projection method. So, what we do, we will have the past data and we will try to find out trend. So, the trend may be increasing trend or decreasing trend or a constant trend. So, once we know the trend we can extrapolate it, right. So, that is the crux of this particular method, find the trend and extrapolate it. So, trend projection methods can be, you can have a linear relationship. So, when I say linear relationship, you have got a dependent variable and you have got independent variable. So, it is possible that when you change one unit of independent variable, there is a change in one unit of dependent variable also. So, you will have a perfect linear relationship, but in real life situation generally you do not have linear relationship, you will always have some non-linear relationships. So, you can have exponential relationship also. So, the value of y, which is a dependent variable, let us say profit of an organization depends on, let us say, R&D investment, right. So, it is possible that there is exponential relationship between R&D investment and profit, right. You can also have polynomial relationship. So, this is the equation for polynomial relationship, and there is something called Cobb-Douglas relationship. So, we will not go into detail of all these things, we will look at linear relationship. So, let us look at an example on linear relationship. So, the question is, there is a transportation company which has got several trucks, and the manager of the transportation company wants to know what is the relationship between age of the truck and repair expenses. So, the manager has collected a sample of 5 trucks and the repairing expenses. So, the first truck he selected has got age of 5 years. So, the truck is 5 years old, right, and the repair expenses, let us say 7,000 rupees per month. So, you can take it either 7,000 or 70,000, whatever you like, right. So, when the age of the truck is 5 years, repair expenses 7,000, 3 years 7,000, 3 years 6,000, 1 year 4,000. Now, since you have selected trucks on the basis of sampling, you may have a truck which is 3 years old, but repair expenses 7,000, but the some other truck which is also 3 years old, repair expenses 6,000. It is possible, right. So, the question is, what would be the expenses for a 4 years old truck, right. So, we want to find out a relationship between this age and expenses, right. So, how would you proceed? So, this is basically a very simple question. So, what you can do, you just take you just find out x bar value, right. X bar is nothing but average of this column, right. So, this is 12 and average is 3, right. So, 12 by 4, right, because n sample size is 4. So, this is 3 and y bar is 6, right. So, this summation of all these values is 24 and divided by 4, right. So, this is 6, right. Similarly, x y, you can multiply these two columns and you can find out total. Similarly, x square here, so total is 44, right. So, this is your equation. So, a is equal to y bar minus b x bar. So, if you want to find out a, you just calculate y bar, that is 6 minus b into x bar, right. So, x bar is known, which is 3, right. So, you do not know b here, right, in this equation. So, to calculate b, just use this formula. So, summation of x y minus n into x bar y bar, right. You need to multiply x bar and y bar, that is 18, right. N is 4, 4 is the sample size, right. So, this is summation of x square, which is 44 minus n into x bar square, right, which is 9, right. So, when you apply this particular formula to calculate b, you will get b is equal to 0.75. So, a is now, you have calculated a and you have calculated b, right. So, can you now find out what would be the expenses for a 4 years old truck? So, there is, you can have a relationship like y is equal to a plus bx, right. So, you know a value, you know b value, right. So, y is equal to a is, you already know a, which is 3.75 plus b is also known to you, 0.75 into 4, right, because you want to find out the expenses for 4 years old truck, right. Similarly, you can further do this. So, this 3.75 plus 3, right, 6.75. So, this is your answer, right. So, a simple linear relationship can be used here, right. So, this is nothing but simple linear regression. So, this is your answer, right. Okay. So, this was a very simple question. So, let us move on to moving average method. The name of this method is moving average, it is not average method. So, do you know anything about moving average, or why it is called moving? What is moving in this average method? Just think for a while. So, we call this method as moving average. In fact, in this method we take averages of couple of numbers, but we keep moving in a way. For example, let us say you have got past data, past sales data of a company, let us say 25, 35, 45 and 50, right. So, if I want to know the forecast for, let us say, next period, I can take average of all these values, right. So, that would be average method, right. But when I say moving average method, so moving average method can be 2 period moving average method, 3 periods moving average, 4 periods moving average, and so on. So, if I want to know what is the forecast of 5th period by, let us say, 2 periods moving average method, 2 periods moving average method. So, I will take average of these two. So, the average of these two would be 30, right. So, this is 30, right. The next value would be the moving average of these two. So, this would be, you can have just, this is 40, right. So, the moving average of next 2 periods, right. The moving average of next 2 period would be these two. So, you exclude the previous point and you include the next point, isn't it. For example, when we calculated this 40, we excluded this, but we included this point, right. Similarly, for calculating moving average of these two, we excluded this and we included this, right. So, average would be again what would be, you just calculate it, right, it's 95 by 2, right, it's 47.5, right. So, the answer to this question would be what we want to know, we want to know what would be the forecast for 5th period, right. So, we will take a moving average of these two, which is this, right. So, what is moving? We are moving in a way, we are excluding previous data point and we are including next data point, right. Similarly, you can have 3 periods moving average or 4 periods moving average, right. So, in 3 periods moving average of these 3 data points, and then next time exclude this and include this, right. So, you will have 3 periods moving average. So, this is moving average method, right. Now, here the important point is, should we select let us say in this case, should we select 2 periods moving average or 3 periods moving average? Now, this is an important point, important question you should know. The value of n, it should be small if there is lot of variation in data. Let us say you have got lots of variation in data. So, this first data point, second, third, fourth, fifth and so on, right. So, if variation is very high, then you should use n is equal to small, 2 periods, 3 periods and so on, right. But if you think that your sales is like this, then you can use 6, 7, 8, 9, right. Why this? Why we are selecting small value of n here and why large value of n here? Because let us say if you look at these 2 points, right, first, second and third, right, these are 3 points. So, when you take average of these 2, that would be somewhere here, right, isn't it? Similarly, average of these 2, it would be somewhere here, right. So, this will help you in smoothing your values, right. So, you need to select value of n very carefully. So, this is the formula ft plus 1. ft plus 1 means the forecast for next period, right. ft means forecast of previous period. This is st is equal to sales for the current period and n is number of periods, right. So, this is very simple formula, right. We will take up an example. Let us say you have got demand data of 2010 32 units, 11 36, 2016 45, right. So, if I want to know what is the 4 months moving average forecast for year 2017, right. So, we want to know 4 months moving average, right. What would you do? 4 months are 4 years, right, it is not month, right. So, it is good to call it 4 period moving average, right, rather than calling month or year, right. So, 4 period moving average. So, what would be the answer? So, first of all, you just take the average of first 4 data points, right. So, 32, 36, 40 and 35, average of all these 4 would be 35.75, right. The next 4 periods moving average would be 35.75. So, you just exclude 32 and you just include this 32, right. Similarly, exclude 36, include 35, exclude 40, include 45, right. So, the last 4 periods average is 36.75, right. So, how did you get this? 45 plus this plus this plus this divided by 4, right. So, you will get 36.75. So, the answer by moving average method for this question is 36.75, right. Now, let us move on to another method, it is called exponential smoothing method. Exponential smoothing method. If you look at the moving average method, then you would have observed that we have given equal weightages to all the data points. For example, if you look at this example, when we go for two periods moving average, we have taken average of these two, right. It means this 25 plus 35 divided by 2. So, 50% weightage is given to this, 50% weightage is given to this, right, is not it? When n is equal to 3, you will take average of these 3, right. It is 25 plus 35 plus 45, right, divided by 3. So, what is the average given to this data point? It is 0.33, right, 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 3. So, we have given equal weightages, and that is the difference between moving average and exponential smoothing method. In exponential smoothing method, what we do, the weightage which we give to last data point, then weightage given to this data point would be less than weightage given to this data point. Weightage given to this would be less than weightage given to this data point. Weightage given to this data point would be less than weightage given to this data point. And how much less it would be? It would decrease in exponential manner. So, that is why we call it exponential smoothing method. The weightage given to the older data points decreases in exponential manner, right. So, that is why this is known as exponential smoothing method. In this method, generally we modify our observations depending upon error. Let us say I have forecasted demand of a particular period and my sales is less than the forecast. So, there would be some error, right. So, this error I will keep in mind, and whenever I forecast the demand of next period, I will forecast by keeping error in mind. So, I will give you an example. Let us say I have forecasted demand of a particular product in next period as 100, right. Let us say January of 2018, but the sales is 80. So, there is an error of 20 units. Now, whenever I forecast for February 18, I will reduce my forecast to let us say 90, is not it. So, what I have done, initially I forecasted 100, but sales was this. Next time I just by looking at error, I just reduced my forecast, right. But let us say sales in February is 110, again there is some error. So, I will now increase forecast for March month, and it would be let us say 110, right. So, here I will take corrective action, and I will forecast appropriately. So, let me stop here in this session. So, and in next session we will continue with this method. Thank you very much.